Welcome to episode 33 of the Cohesive Home podcast. We're back after a short hiatus and talking about the value of self-care in our daily routines.
Hey, Melissa.
Hey, Kate.
Long time no see.
Where have you been?
I don't know.
Just kidding.
Babyland.
Yeah, we talk every day, so it's not like we don't know what's going on in each other's lives, but everyone else might be wondering what we've been doing.
Yeah, dude. Having a third baby is no joke.
No, you're right. I can legitimately say I know how you feel.
Yeah, well, we recorded episode 32, the slow burn, and I'm like, yeah, I'm back. I've got this. And then I got sick,
Yeah.
We had a week of dance camp and swim lessons, which, by the way, again, we always talk about values and living this slow, peaceful life. And I'm like, I'm driving all over the place with a baby.
I know. I'm like, what are you doing today, Kate? Oh, just taking
banging my head against the steering wheel, No big deal.
Literally, I know you've been in the car a lot with a newborn. Might I add?
He was so laid back about it, but then I got sick, like crazy sick, like a fever and just weird for me, and and then you got sick. I had laryngitis. I basically didn't talk for 4 days.
Yeah, you were much more sick than I was, but I got a little cold, and so my voice was all weird. And shout out to my new friend Heather, who I went and had coffee with her because she actually signed up to be a leader for one of our groups here in Oklahoma. And so I said, hey, you're in Norman. I'm in Norman. Let's go hang out. So we went and had coffee. And I sit down and all I can do is cough. I'm like, this is not typically how I am. Mm-hmm. So I apologize. I felt so bad, but
she was super grossed out.
Yeah, that other person next to me.
And we lost a listener.
Yeah, and we lost No, she was super cool about it. It ended up being okay, but
that's awesome.
Yeah, so I felt sick too, and we
we
got through that, and then just life, man, life.
Dude, it's been cray.
Yeah. So one thing I am getting ready for though is to come and visit you. I'm so excited.
I am. It almost doesn't feel real. I know. Like, I'll believe it when I see you.
It'll feel real when you have to drive all the way to Chicago and pick me up.
I know. Dang it, Melissa.
Now it feels real.
It'll be great. I'm excited.
It's going to be great because if you're new to the podcast, you may not know that Kate and I are in 2 separate locations. So we don't get to see each other very often. Definitely keep an eye out on our Instagram, both our Cohesive Home Instagram and our personal Instagrams. Maybe that was a good segue into something that we haven't really shared about on Instagram.
Oh,
yeah. Should I say that? Should I dive in? It's just really fast. I'll tell everybody. A couple episodes ago, more than a couple, because it was 5 months that I was off of Instagram. I kind of shared that I was exiting the Instagram world, and some people thought I was crazy. Others were totally supportive. I loved it. It was great. But after about 5 months, I realized that there actually is a community on Instagram that I had cultivated through my personal and then also through Cohesive Home. And I miss that. I miss seeing my friends from Germany and from all over, really, people that I had met through Instagram. And so I made the decision to rejoin the Instagram world, and I'm really happy I did. I have a lot more self-control over it now. I think taking that break really helped. But yeah. So follow along on my personal Instagram. It's just Melissa Reisenhoover, and you'll get to see some of my trip up to see Kate. It'll be great.
Yes. Yes, I'm very excited for it. And I'm glad you're back on Instagram too. Although, then I have days where I'm like, I want to quit Instagram.
Just throw your phone out the window.
Right.
Yeah, I know. I feel like it's Oh, go ahead. What?
I was going to say, speaking of throwing your phone out the window, like that could be a form of self-care.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, seriously.
Like cutting back on the technology and
back,
yeah, for real. So, speaking of that, today we're talking about
self-care. Dun, dun, dun. Because Kate and I both, I mean, I have not had a baby recently. It's been 6 years since I had my last, but we also had a big move into a new house. We're renovating. And so both Kate and I kind of came into this time of our life where we needed to really take a step back and evaluate what self-care was to us.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I mean, I totally agree. Melissa was definitely a witness to this, and I'm sure some of you, if you follow me on Instagram or read my blog, may have picked up on this, but man, I tried so hard to I'm like, all right, I've had a baby, and I'm just going to jump right back into everything that I do. And my husband, Kirk, was working a ton. It was like baby was born, work picked up. And just felt like we were being pulled in so many different directions. And, when you have a newborn, you're getting terrible sleep. And if you have other children, like I do, you're trying to meet their needs. And so, yeah, I just kind of hit a breaking point. When was that? Probably beginning of June. I was just like, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah. And about that time, I wasn't able to really, I don't know, put a lot of focus in on even, with any business related things like Cohesive Home, because I was, neck deep in house renovations, and then just, I don't know, just everything, just life, right? Life kind of made us both take a step back and say, okay, why are we not running like at full capacity? Like what is it that we're doing that is hindering us from feeling good even on a day-to-day basis? Mm-hmm. So I would say the first thing would be just acknowledging the fact that, we needed to really, I guess, take a step back and say, oh yeah, we need self-care. We need to take care of ourselves even in these busy times in our lives.
Well, yeah, I mean, and that kind of goes back to something that we've talked about so many times in the past of, that obligation to say yes to different responsibilities, or even like just friends asking, like, hey, can you do this for me or do that? And I want to be someone that people can count on.
Right.
I want to be reliable. And I feel like that's kind of a lot of us, right? A lot of us struggle with that today. Mm-hmm. But we don't need to be martyrs.
Right.
Right? I matter too, like my own well-being and my health matters, but sometimes I'm like, I'll worry about that last because, there's so many other things to do.
Right.
So how do we avoid getting in that kind of situation in the first place?
Well, I think that sometimes we can't avoid it. I mean, sometimes there are going to be seasons in our life that demand more of us and demand us to be selfless. And that self-care may not happen. But I do believe that there becomes a breaking point, and you just, you got to really pay attention to not getting to that point. Mm-hmm. But there are times when it may, I may not be able to go to my yoga class all the time, because I have other things to do that are more important. So how can I get in that self-care and create that routine even through the rough patches and even through those hard times? So
Oh yeah. And I really struggle with that. I am not good about keeping up my self-care routines when I get into a season of busy, or even just when I'm overwhelmed with daily life, right? Like, cuz just taking care of little kids and working a job, I mean, it is so much. So yeah, I'm definitely at like the very much like the base level of like, okay, I need to figure out what is it that makes me feel better, and then try to add those things back in and reestablish those habits.
Well, and like we had talked to each other before on the phone, I said, I feel like I was doing so good. I was working out regularly. My diet was well. I felt like I had everything kind of, my ducks were in a row, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
And I felt like things were going good. And then, we move into this new house and everything just gets turned upside down.
Right.
And the stress goes through the roof. Figuratively, not literally, I guess. But I was telling you how, I just really feel like some people listening right now might say, you know what, my life's pretty good right now. I'm good, even through some changes. Like, I feel like I've got it and we're great. But there's going to be others listening that can relate to the fact that big changes in your life really spur on that need for self-care even greater. Like, just really focusing in on, okay, how do I make this work even in this season? So for me, I just went last night and actually bought some new running shoes.
Nice.
I realized that even though I love my my barre classes and my yoga classes, it's not something that is what's the right way to say this? Even though, yes, it was good exercise, it's something that, financially, we really can't do it right now. And then also it's the time. The times really didn't fit my family and my life. And so instead of feeling guilty for not going, I decided to cancel the membership, go to yoga when I can, just pay individually, and then start walking and jogging again.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that I'm doing. What's something that you've decided to do, Kate? Because I know that we've talked about a lot of things behind the scenes. But
Yes. Well, I mean, mine is so much more, I would say, just surviving right now, like doing the best that I can with this season that I'm in with having a newborn. And so for me, like my self-care right now would be very basic things, like making sure I'm drinking enough water every day so I'm not getting dehydrated while nursing.
Yes.
Keeping up on taking a multivitamin every day, trying to eat balanced meals, getting as much sleep as I can with a baby.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that I did that has been helping is, you probably remember about a month ago, I got really sad. Like I just was having a really hard time coping with being a new mom again. And so it was hard for me to do because I don't like to admit like when I'm struggling. Like I want to appear like I've got it figured out.
Yeah.
And so I got over myself with encouragement from you and from my husband. And so I called my midwife, and she kind of helped me troubleshoot some homeopathics to take. And to try those to see if that would kind of help. And it did really help lift some of the anxiety and sadness I was having. And I definitely wouldn't have been opposed to taking something prescription-based if I had needed it. So like if you're listening and you're a new mom and you're in that season, like there's no shame in reaching out and getting help.
Yeah.
Because it's needed. You're taking care of little kids and you have to take care of yourself.
Yes. Yeah. My yoga instructor, Victoria, if she's listening, she always says you cannot pour from an empty cup. Yeah. And it's so true. I know it sounds, probably silly to say it, but it's so true. It's so true.
Yes.
So even if it means kind of getting over yourself of like, oh man, and I hate to say it, shame. I know women are like, oh, I need help. No,
Right.
But yeah, I mean, fortunately,
Well, yeah.
I'm fortunate. I didn't have that in my 3 pregnancies. I know I'm very fortunate in that, but it's very common. So
yeah.
And honestly, I would say I feel more sadness now that I've kind of I feel like my hormones were really leveled out, and then sorry for all the men listening right now, but all my hormones were were like
We
leveled.
promise we won't talk about periods next.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, like everything seemed good, and then as soon as all the stress was put on my life, oh my
Yes.
gosh, this last month was just, and both of us, we were like a mess. That's why we didn't record. And so, really,
It would have
I
been
love
bad.
that. Yeah, it would have been really bad. But in knowing that, like you said, drinking water. Oh my gosh, I used to drink so much water. I was so good about that. And then I realized the other day, I'm incredibly dehydrated. Like I need to
Yeah.
drink water. So those simple things like that are just a really big deal. Or
Yeah.
even right now, we're recording this podcast, and I was drinking a gluten-free beer or having a glass of wine. And just, even if it doesn't sound like, oh, that's not self-care, but it's something I enjoy. It's relaxing.
Right. Adds
It
pleasure.
Yes.
A small, simple pleasure to your day. Yeah.
Yes. Those are,
Yeah.
so it's not just like, oh, going and exercising. It's those small pleasures in life as well. Like go eat a piece of chocolate,
For real. Yeah, I know. Like for me, I love just taking a really hot bath and reading,
Yes.
like locking the door, turning on the fan. And so I'm getting better about like, hey, Kirk, here's the baby.
Yeah.
I'm tapping out.
And yeah, you're like, stop out. That's so funny. I know. Yeah, you're definitely the bath person. I'm like, I'll go take a hot shower. But yeah, I mean,
To
we
each
all
their own.
Yeah, to each their own. Yes. But we all go through seasons of things that are hard, and we hope that we can encourage everyone listening that you're not alone in that, and that sometimes taking just a step back and asking what's one thing I can do to take care of myself today, can mean the world of difference.
Yes, that's such good advice, Melissa. A better place so that we can kind of jump back into the saddle with a cohesive home. And so we will be breaking until mid-August ish.
Yeah, ish. Yeah, we're gonna play it by ear.
Yeah. And we're always, I mean, that's the Melissa and I were talking the other day on the phone because we're always, brainstorming ideas for projects and things that we want to do for you all. And so I was like, Melissa, aren't we taking a break? Because whenever we talk about taking a break, we're like, ramp it up.
Yeah,
But it's
Like,
because we get
break?
excited.
What's that?
know.
Let's okay.
I know.
But no, but really truly, it'll allow us to do some things behind the scenes and just make the content that we provide to everyone just so much better whenever we come back. And so one thing we have going on behind the scenes right now is the groups. We've opened up our group locations online, and you can head to cohesivehome.com/group locations, and I'll put a link to that in the show notes. But
And if you are interested in being a group leader, it is not too late. So you can also sign up for that as well. Well, we are going to wrap up this episode, but I just want to emphasize again that you listening, like you matter. You do. And taking care of yourself and meeting your own needs, that truly matters. So do whatever you can to make it a priority. Don't be afraid to tell people no if it means saying yes to yourself, because you cannot give of yourself to others if your own cup is dry. So find a way to fill your cup.
yes, even if it's a literal cup with water or beer.
Hydrate.
Or wine.
Or beer.
You see what's on my mind. Anyway, thank you all so much for joining us today, and thank you for our longtime listeners. I know a lot of you have been emailing us and just your encouragement means the world to us. So just know that we're going to be back sometime in August, and keep a lookout on Instagram and even your email, because I know we've got some other things coming up. So we'll see you next time.